How was Pokémon made? It's about the time when video games were just beginning to take off. A child had a crazy dream. He wanted to catch all the bugs he could get his hands on. But little did he know that his dream would translate into a passion for creating a game where players could catch, train, and battle with their own creatures. But not just any creatures. Ones that were weird, cute, and sometimes downright scary. Creatures that would capture the imagination of people all over the world. This is the story of how Pokémon was made. It took years of hard work, endless creativity, and a little bit of luck. And even then, it almost didn't happen. From controversies over animal cruelty to battles with Nintendo executives, the road to Pokemon's success was full of obstacles. But somehow, against all odds, the franchise not only survived, it thrived. Today, Pokemon is not just a game. It's an ecosystem. From the trading card game to the TV show to the countless spin-off products, Pokemon has become a brand that is worth billions. But at its core, it's still about that one simple idea: catching them all. So are you ready to discover the secrets of how Pokemon was made? Then grab your Pokeball, hold on tight, and let's journey into the world of Pokemon. Chapter 1: The Creator. Satoshi Tajiri, the mastermind behind Pokemon, was born and raised in the suburbs of Tokyo, Japan. As a child, he spent countless hours wandering through the nearby forests and fields, catching bugs and insects that caught his eye. Tajiri's fascination with these creatures went beyond just collecting them. He studied their behavior, their habits, and even their biology. His friends and family often joked that he knew more about bugs than anyone else they knew. As he grew older, Tajiri's love for exploration evolved into a passion for video games. He spent most of his free time tinkering with code, learning how to program, and creating his own games from scratch. He was so into arcade games that he would spend hours and hours in the net cafe. And in fact, it was due to this hobby that he had, and more appropriately said, a passion, that he even failed to graduate. Nevertheless, here came another turning point in the story. Chapter 2: Ken Tsujimori and the Birth of Game Freak. In fact, Tajiri's love for arcade games led him to create Game Freak, a homemade arcade magazine at the age of 17. He would visit arcades for handwritten and stapled together publications, speak to their owners, and write about tips and cheat codes for arcade games. The next key figure in our story, Ken Tsujimori, was also working on a similar project. Born in Tokyo in 1966, he was always interested in art, especially anime and manga. His love for drawing led him to pursue a career as an artist. After graduating from high school, he attended a design school in Tokyo and later moved to the Aichi Prefecture, where he worked as a freelance illustrator for various magazines. They both met in 1989, when Tajiri was impressed with Tsujimori's artwork and invited him to join his team at Game Freak as an artist. They soon became good friends and worked on the magazine together for 4 years, covering the latest video game news and creating their own game ideas. When the magazine ended in 1993, Tajiri and Tsujimori decided to pursue their dream of creating their own games. They spent 3 years studying programming and game development, determined to make a name for themselves in the industry. In 1989, they founded a game development company called Game Freak. Their first project was a puzzle game called Quinty, which was released in 1991 for the Nintendo Famicom. The game was made as a hobby project and was created using a hacked Famicom console. After completing the game, they shipped it around to various game companies, hoping to find a publisher. Namco showed interest in the game, but they were not willing to deal with individuals, so Game Freak had to incorporate to secure the deal. Over the next few years, Game Freak released several games for larger companies, including Smartball, Yoshi, Mario and Wario, and Pulseman. However, they had been working on a massive project that would soon overshadow all others. Chapter 3: The Beginning of Pokemon. In the early 1990s, Tajiri pitched an idea to Nintendo for a game where players could collect and battle creatures called Pokemon. Nintendo was hesitant and didn't show interest, mainly because at the time, Nintendo was already in the midst of developing other games, and was unsure if another project was worth the investment. But Tajiri was convinced that the game would be a huge success, and he persisted in pitching the idea. After many pitches and discussions, Nintendo finally agreed to take on the project. However, even after securing the support of Nintendo, the development process for Pokemon was long and difficult. In an interview with Time magazine, Tajiri described how he felt about the concept of Pokemon. "I really liked the idea of collecting things, of catching insects as a boy. I was really interested in that, and I wanted to make a game where you could do that." In the same interview, Tajiri also discussed Nintendo's initial reluctance to greenlight the project. Nintendo was not convinced about the idea at first. They thought the concept was too strange, and that the game wouldn't sell, but I kept pushing and eventually they agreed to let us develop it. Despite the challenges and obstacles they faced, Tajiri and his team at Game Freak continued to work on the game, driven by their belief in its potential. As Tajiri told The New Yorker, "We were just a small group of developers, but we had a strong vision for what we wanted to create. We knew that we had something special, and we were determined to see it through to the end." Chapter 4: Development of Pokémon. The initial concept of Pokémon involves a boy traveling around a fictional world, catching creatures and battling other trainers. Tajiri wanted the game to be social, so he created a link cable that would allow players to connect their Game Boys and trade Pokémon with each other. The game was finally released in 1996 in Japan, under the name Pocket Monsters Red and Green. It was an instant hit, with players of all ages becoming obsessed with the game and its cute collectible creatures. The success of Pokémon in Japan led to its release in other countries, including the United States and Europe. The game was renamed to Pokémon Red and Blue for its international release, and it quickly became a phenomenon. The success of Pokémon in Japan led to the release of the game in other countries, where it was met with similar enthusiasm. The game became a global phenomenon, with millions of copies sold worldwide and a massive fan base that continues to this day. Part of the reason for Pokemon's success was its unique gameplay mechanics. Players could catch and battle over 150 different creatures, each with their own unique abilities and attributes. The game also encouraged social interaction, with players encouraged to trade creatures with each other in order to complete their collections. But perhaps the biggest factor in Pokemon's success was its universal appeal. The game was accessible to both casual and hardcore gamers, and its cute and colorful characters appealed to both children and adults alike. The game also tapped into the human desire to collect and complete sets, with players eager to catch them all and complete their Pokédex. The success of Pokémon also led to the creation of an entire franchise, with spin-off games, anime series, movies, merchandise, and more. The franchise has become a cultural phenomenon, with fans all over the world continuing to collect and battle their favorite creatures. Chapter 5: Controversies. It's worth noting that while the Pokémon franchise has been incredibly successful, it hasn't been without its controversies. One of the most prominent examples is the seizure episode of the Pokémon anime. In 1997, the episode Electric Soldier Porygon was broadcast in Japan, featuring flashing lights and bright colors rapidly. As a result, hundreds of viewers experienced seizures, and the episode was subsequently banned from airing again. Another issue that has been raised regarding Pokémon is the concept of gotta catch 'em all, which some have criticized as promoting consumerism and materialism. This criticism has been especially relevant in the context of the trading card game, where collectors can spend large amounts of money trying to obtain rare cards. In addition, there have been concerns raised about the depiction of certain Pokémon. For example, Jinx, a Pokémon introduced in the first generation, was criticized for resembling racist caricatures of black people. The character's design was subsequently changed, with its skin color being changed from black to purple. There have also been controversies surrounding the use of the Pokémon franchise in political campaigns. In 2016, the presidential campaign of Donald Trump released an ad featuring a Pokémon battle between Trump and Hillary Clinton. This was criticized by some as trivializing the election and reducing it to a childish game. Chapter 6: Pokémon's Cultural Impact and Legacy. The cultural impact and legacy of Pokémon cannot be overstated. Since its release in 1996, the franchise has become a global phenomenon that has influenced pop culture, technology, and even language. First and foremost, Pokémon has had a profound effect on the video game industry. It popularized the concept of collectible creatures and made them a staple of the RPG genre. Its innovative gameplay and mechanics have been emulated by countless other games in the years since its release. Beyond gaming, Pokémon has left an indelible mark on popular culture. The franchise has spawned an animated series, movies, and a plethora of merchandise, including trading cards, plush toys, and clothing. The iconic Pikachu has become a cultural icon in its own right, recognized and beloved by people all over the world. It also has a significant impact on language. The franchise has introduced new words and phrases to our lexicon, such as Gotta Catch 'Em All and Pokémon Master. It's also been credited with introducing Japanese pop culture to the West, paving the way for other anime and manga series to gain popularity outside of Japan. But perhaps the most significant aspect of Pokemon's legacy is the sense of community and connection it's fostered. From the early days of trading Pokemon cards on playgrounds to the global phenomenon of Pokemon Go, the franchise has brought people together in a way that few other things can. It's created a shared language and culture that transcends borders, age groups, and backgrounds. In recent years, the franchise has continued to evolve and grow, introducing new creatures, mechanics, and storylines. It shows no signs of slowing down, with new games, movies, and merchandise continuing to be released regularly. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the world of gaming, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We cover everything from classic games to modern blockbusters, and offer in-depth analysis and reviews of the latest releases. So hit that subscribe button and join our community of passionate gamers today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.